Hello and welcome to Capital Online TV. I'm your host, Junior Amunga. A requiem mass in honor of Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaissery was held on Thursday after he suffered a heart attack on Saturday. At the mass, Nkaissery was remembered as a man of the people whose philanthropic works will outlive him. He was also remembered as a hard worker with an impressive record in the military, as a member of parliament and most recently as a cabinet secretary. President Uhuru Kenyatta, who attended the mass, described him as a most devoted worker who has left large shoes to fill. Nkaissery will be buried at his Bisil home on Saturday.
And I want to be very clear that the general was not just a man of dignity, but he was a man of commitment. He was loyal. But most importantly, he was dedicated to Kenya. Totally dedicated to Kenya. General was a stickler for discipline. The general was a man of order. But most importantly, the general had a very soft spot for those that he cared for. I am going to miss a friend. I am going to miss a colleague. I am going to miss walking in retirement with General Nkaissery. I am going to miss walking with a man of passion. I am going to miss walking with a friend who truly cared for me. Not just as president, he cared for me as a friend and a fellow human being.
The National Super Alliance presidential candidate, Raila Odinga, says he will implement the TJRC report once he assumes the presidency. He spoke at the launch of a manifesto by victims of historical injustices, urging Kenyans to vote for him come August 8th, promising to create a nation where everyone is equal.
We have not been in this struggle in vain because we know exactly what this country needs. And this country will not make a clean departure until there's real regime change in the country. And we will not be able to realize the dream of our forefathers until that also happens.
Led by Andrew Munge, the victims of historical injustice launched their manifesto saying that it is aimed at reclaiming the nation's integrity and have called on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to conduct a credible election.
That was even been alleged to have wanted to commit suicide by jumping through from the IEBC. It is because they don't want to hear some facts that are in our manifesto, but we are pushing on. We have a hearing tomorrow in court, which will determine whether we are in the ballot or we are not. We should never value a vote, and I've even called for these elections to be postponed, to be called off, for somebody to be put in jail called Chebukati, because he's mismanaging a process without realizing that he's putting people's lives at risk.
Peter Geshira, who the IEBC declined to clear for the presidential race, was also present at the launch and has called on the electoral agency to put its house in order on account of questions raised on the credibility of the voters' register and presidential ballots.
To the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, put your house in order ahead of the elections. We urge you to resolve all the contentious issues pertaining to delivering a free and credible election by ensuring that you have a clear, verifiable, uncontested voter register, among other things.
Sunlam Investment Group has officially handed over to Nairobi County Government a block addition to the Mathari Primary School. Sunlam financed the construction of 32 classrooms, a library, a dining hall, an ablution block and a computer lab at a cost of 165 million shillings. While handing over the new wing of the school to Governor Evans Kidero, Sunlam Chief Executive James Moria said several partners, including architects and engineers, offered their services pro bono for the benefit of the community.
This project is a collaboration between Two Rivers, Sunlam, and the county government, when we met with His Excellency the Governor, he had a vision for a school for this area, and the county government provided 4 acres of land, and our responsibility was to provide the resources to build the school, and we are delighted that that has been possible. And I want to thank all our partners who provided those resources. Initially, when we began, Your Excellency, we had a budget of 110 million shillings. Today, we've spent in excess of 170 million shillings, but our partners, Athena Properties, Bugatman, the contractors, a lot of them did the work pro bono. The contractors did the work at cost, and if we had done it at the true market value, this project is in excess of 300 million shillings for this school in Mathari.
Centum Director Chris Kirubi, on his part, urged more organizations to contribute their resources and skills to improve the standards of education in the country.
We all came from poverty, we Africans. But we have to fight to improve our situation. And the number one thing we can do is to arm ourselves with good education. Bwana Governor, you don't know what you've done to me. This to me is personal, because I identify myself with the very poor. And these children are my family.
Sunlam Group has successfully concluded the acquisition of PineBridge Investment East Africa after receiving all the necessary approvals. The deal will see PineBridge Investments East Africa rebrand to Sunlam Investments East Africa Limited. The current PineBridge Investments East Africa Chief Executive Jonathan Stitchbarry will run the new entity. As of July 2017, PineBridge Investments East Africa had a portfolio of 200 billion worth of assets under its management. Sunlam Emerging Markets Chief Executive Junior Ngulube said the conclusion of the acquisition paves the way for the group to integrate its asset management businesses and build a regional asset manager of scale under the Sunlam brand.
Sunlam, through its subsidiary Sunlam Emerging Markets, is already operating in 34 countries across the African continent, offering a variety of lines of products from short-term insurance, life insurance, asset management. And in the case of asset management, we felt we needed to increase our presence in asset management, particularly in the East African region. And this is where the former PineBridge was a very strategic fit for the Sunlam Group.
For more on these and other stories, log on to www.capitalfm.co.ke. I've been your host, Yunia Amunga.